It began like any other day for Daniel Asher, a retired entrepreneur with a sharp mind and a lifetime of achievements under his belt. He walked into an upscale luxury showroom, intending to buy a special gift to mark a milestone, a quiet gesture of celebration for a life well lived. But what happened next would spark a chain of events that no one could have foreseen. Little did Daniel know, the brief interaction he was about to have would set off a storm. A confrontation not about money, but about values, dignity, and justice. And when his son, billionaire Ethan Cross, stepped in, the entire dynamic shifted. This wasn't just a moment of standing up. It became a reckoning that would challenge perceptions and redefine power. Daniel Asher wasn't just a man with wealth. He was a man with a story. Born into modest beginnings, he had built a career brick by brick, priding himself on his humility and respect for others. In retirement, he enjoyed life's simple pleasures, long walks, time with family, and moments of quiet reflection. But there was one thing that mattered most to him: fairness. It was a bright afternoon when Daniel stepped into one of the city's most prestigious luxury showrooms, a place known for catering to society's elite. The gleaming floors reflected rows of high-end cars, jewelry, and tailored suits, symbols of status and success. Daniel wasn't there to flaunt his wealth. He simply wanted to pick out a gift, something meaningful for a loved one. Yet, as he moved through the showroom, something unexpected began to unfold. Employees glanced at him, their expressions indifferent or dismissive. Conversations paused as he passed, replaced by polite, forced smiles. He brushed it off at first. Perhaps it was just a busy day. But then, he approached a representative, eager to ask about a particular item. Please, before we continue, quickly subscribe to this channel now for you to be the first to receive stories like this when it drops, and it serves as an inspiration to produce more contents like this for your consumption. Now let's continue. What should have been a straightforward exchange took an unusual turn. The sales associate didn't meet Daniel's glaze. Instead, their tone carried an edge of condescension, subtle yet undeniable. Questions about his intentions followed, each one more invasive than the last. And then came the breaking point. Words spoken softly yet with a sting that could not be ignored. Words that made it clear Daniel wasn't seen as a customer but as an intruder. For a man who had spent decades earning his place in the world, the implication was clear, and it cut deep. But what Daniel Asher didn't realize was that this was no ordinary day. His son, Ethan Cross, a man whose name carried weight in every corner of the financial world, would soon hear about the incident. And when he did, he wouldn't let it rest. Ethan wasn't just a billionaire. He was a strategist, a visionary, and a fierce advocate for those he cared about. And when he took action, the world paid attention. Daniel Asher had faced challenges before, but nothing prepared him for the treatment he received that day. As he approached the showroom manager, a figure of authority, dressed in an impeccable suit, he expected professionalism, perhaps even a touch of courtesy. Instead, what greeted him was disdain. The manager looked him over, his eyes betraying judgment. Then came the words, cold and cutting. "This isn't a place for people like you." The statement landed like a blow, echoing through the pristine showroom. Conversations around them hushed, but no one intervened. It was a moment that could break anyone's spirit. But Daniel, ever the gentleman, didn't retaliate. He didn't demand an apology or argue. Instead, he straightened his posture, gave a polite nod, and quietly walked out the door. He carried with him not just the sting of humiliation, but also a deep, unshakable sadness. This was more than an insult. It was a dismissal of his humanity, a denial of his years of hard work and success. Outside the showroom, Daniel paused, taking in the crisp air. He adjusted his jacket, trying to compose himself, but the pain was there, etched into his face. For a man who had lived with integrity, this moment was an attack on everything he believed in. As he made his way home, Daniel resolved to put the incident behind him. It wasn't in his nature to dwell on such things. He hadn't caused a scene because he believed in maintaining his dignity, no matter the circumstances. But little did he know, this wasn't the end of the story. It was only the beginning. When Daniel recounted the day's events to his son, Ethan Cross, the reaction was immediate. Ethan, known for his calm demeanor and sharp mind, was visibly shaken. "What did they say to you, Dad?" he asked, his voice low and controlled. Daniel hesitated, reluctant to relive the moment. But as he spoke, Ethan's expression hardened, his jaw set in determination. This wasn't just an insult to his father. It was an attack on principles Ethan held dear: fairness, respect, and the belief that no one should be treated as less than. For Ethan, this wasn't just about one incident. It was about the bigger picture, and he intended to uncover it. Ethan didn't waste time. That evening, he began digging into the showroom's reputation. What he found left no room for doubt. I do hope you have subscribed already, as it is about to get really interesting. Dozens of online reviews painted a troubling picture. Customers described similar encounters, condescending tones, outright dismissals, and an environment that seemed designed to exclude anyone who didn't fit a certain mold. Some accounts were eerily similar to his father's experience. Ethan compiled every piece of evidence he could find: screenshots, testimonials, and even a few viral social media posts from people who had faced similar discrimination. It became clear this wasn't just an isolated incident. The showroom had a pattern, a culture, even, of exclusion. Ethan's mind raced. This wasn't just about standing up for his father anymore. This was about addressing a systemic issue, one that had gone unchecked for far too long. And if there was one thing Ethan Cross was known for, it was turning injustices into opportunities for change. Ethan Cross, always calculated, devised a plan. Dressed in a tailored suit that exuded wealth and power, he walked into the same showroom where his father had been humiliated. From the moment he stepped through the glass doors, the atmosphere was different. Staff members scrambled to greet him, their smiles wide and eager. The manager himself appeared within minutes, extending a hand and offering a tour of the showroom's most exclusive items. Ethan played the part seamlessly, asking detailed questions about the inventory and showing interest in their finest selections. Hours later, after choosing several high-ticket items, a luxury car, a rare watch, and bespoke jewelry, Ethan prepared to close the deal. The staff beamed with satisfaction, already calculating the commission. But just as the final papers were brought out, Ethan's demeanor shifted. Ethan, however, wasn't content with a single victory. Using his platform, he launched a campaign promoting diversity and inclusion within high-end industries. He funded scholarships for underrepresented communities aspiring to work in luxury sectors and supported advocacy groups fighting systemic prejudice. As for Daniel Asher, he watched with quiet pride. While the incident had left its mark, it also showcased the resilience and values he had instilled in his son. Together, they turned a moment of pain into a movement for change. This story isn't just about standing up to injustice. It's about using power and privilege to challenge the status quo. It's a reminder that dignity and perseverance can triumph, even in the face of discrimination. What would you have done in Ethan Cross's position? Have you ever faced such racism before in life? Do you believe the resolution was fair, or would you have taken a different approach? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. And if this story inspired you, check out our next video about another powerful act of justice that made headlines. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to join us for more compelling stories like this one.